This is Roots, and this story begins with a Bible in a drawer. The day before Dad passed, I was sitting with him. There was something in the newspaper that had upset me. The headlines around Paul Menke's talking about him being raised from the dead. And Dad, in his own straightforward way, asked, "So, has this guy been raised up yet?" I was irritated, very irritated, because to me, this wasn't funny. It wasn't something to be joked about. So I got up and left the room. I was on my way to a Women's Day wellness event at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. And as I was about to leave home, I went back into Dad's room to greet him. Just a normal goodbye. I wasn't thinking, this is the last time I'll see him. I was simply going back just to say goodbye before I left. And that's when he said, "My kind, maak oop die kas." Open the cupboard. Look in the drawer. So I did, and there was a new, large NIV Bible. "Take it out. That's for you." And then, "Come here." Puckered lips. A goodbye kiss. Mwah! And off I went. I didn't know, I couldn't know that I had just been given something by my dad the day before he died. I didn't know that the irritation we'd had only moments earlier would become part of the memory of our last ordinary, extraordinary conversation. The next day, he was gone, and the Bible remained. And I've thought about that Bible many times because Dad and Bibles go a long way in my memory. From childhood, Chantal and I had the little Gideon New Testaments. Later, we each received our own. And for confirmation, I received a beautiful white Bible. Dad wrote a special message inside the cover. And that Bible traveled with me until I left it behind in Pretoria. I still think about that. Some things you lose physically, but they remain part of your story. And then there was Dad's voice. I don't simply remember him reading scripture. I remember him reciting it. His favorite Psalms, Psalm 127 and Psalm 125, he would start and say, "As die Here die huis nie bou nie, te vergeefs werk die wat daaraan bou." And then, "As die Here die stad nie bewaar nie, te vergeefs waak die wagter." In my child's mind, I saw a God standing on a tower, watching, keeping watch over the city. I could see him there. Then Dad would move to another psalm. Rondom Jerusalem is berge. And suddenly there were mountains surrounding Jerusalem. So is die Here rondom sy volk, van nou af tot in ewigheid. I don't remember Dad explaining those pictures. He didn't have to. His voice did the work. The words did the work. And my imagination did the rest. There was another side to Dad and his psalms. Sometimes Dad would be a little bit more than tipsy, and we'd hear him calling from the bedroom, "Pass my cigarette," which is on the side table next to the bed. Chantal and I would take turns answering his lists of requests, one thing after another, until we discovered, for our own entertainment, that we could change the subject. We'd shout, "As die Here die huis nie bou nie," and Dad would automatically continue from the room. "Te vergeefs werk die wat daaraan bou." Then we'd echo, "As die Here die stad nie bewaar nie." And somehow the cigarette was forgotten, the requests stopped, and we were all reciting the psalm. It became almost like a little family game. Dad's voice, then ours. His words, then our echo. A call and response long before I knew what to call it. Looking back now, those words weren't confined to church. They lived in our house. They were part of ordinary family life. They could be solemn, they could be funny, they could even be used by two mischievous sisters to change the subject. That's why the Bible Dad gave me has always felt a little bit more than a book, because the words inside it already had a voice, his voice. And I still love paging through the beautiful Afrikaans King James Bible. Sometimes I read words I've known for decades and they don't sound the same. A verse I thought I understood opens differently. A familiar story catches my attention. The word has a way of coming alive. And perhaps that's because some words are never just words. They carry voices, they carry people, they carry memories. The strongest lesson for us all was simple. Remember, you are second to none. I heard those words growing up. I didn't always understand them. Life has a way of teaching you what your parents meant, and I still carry those words. You are second to none, not better than anyone, not less than anyone, simply second to none. And there's another lesson running through our family, one I understand differently now. Love gives and never counts the cost. I saw it in my parents, in the way food was shared, in the way family was cared for, in the little things that weren't announced or counted or kept score of. I think that's what makes this Bible so precious to me. Dad didn't make a speech. He didn't tell me this is going to be important one day. He simply opened the cupboard, pointed to a drawer, and said, "That's for you." I took the Bible, I kissed my dad goodbye, and I walked out the door. I didn't know it was goodbye. I thought I was simply leaving the house on my way to a Women's Day event. I thought I'd see him again. But the next day he was gone. And somewhere in that cupboard drawer, a Bible had become part of the story I would carry with me. I still hear Dad. As die Here die huis nie bou nie. And I still see the God standing on the tower watching. And then, rondom Jerusalem is berge. And I still see those mountains surrounding the city, surrounding a people. His voice is gone, but the words remain. The Bible remains, the memories remain, and the lessons stay. Love gives and never counts the cost. And sometimes we only understand the gift long after it had been placed in our hands. The day before Dad died, he gave me a Bible. I didn't know it was goodbye. But I know now that I was given something that would keep speaking long after his voice was gone. This is Roots. And sometimes the things we carry with us are not the things we plan to take. Sometimes they are the things someone places in our hands just before we walk away.